We're going to go over some of the top countries that have made changes to their visa process and what that will mean for us as either travelers, digital nomads, global boppers, expats, immigrants, whatever you classify yourself as, we're going to share exactly what that means for you in those countries without legal residency or citizenship. The US used to be number one when it came to visa-free travel to most countries. That is no longer the case. Similarly to how the US is placing excessive restrictions on other countries now, they are in turn doing similar. And that's why it's called reciprocal restrictions. The landscape has become significantly more challenging and expensive. It's going to get worse, y'all, but we're going to talk about that in a second. Mexico's doubled income requirements since within the past few years. Panama has increased investment minimums and general trends towards higher financial thresholds, which are pricing out middle-class Americans who once saw international relocation as accessible options. And so we want you to be ready, right? Be ready and take whatever action you need to take before more changes come. The digital nomad dream is also facing reality checks. Thailand does offer a new digital nomad visa. It requires substantial financial proof. And countries like Indonesia, where we, just find such solitude and peace, they're cracking down on tourists who overstay their visas while working remotely. This was not a thing a year ago. But in addition to the countries that I just listed, expat havens in Europe are also becoming harder to access for long-term stays, as countries are now scrutinizing the 90 to 100-day rule more carefully through automatic tracking systems. It's getting interesting, right? It's getting interesting now. But there are solutions. So you stay a little while longer. We'll talk about what some of those may look like. But the overall solution, right, is if you have any desire to travel to some of the places we're about to go over, act now, especially if you're looking to have extended stays, to stay any longer than the, traditional few days vacation. It's a trend that's going to continue. And the reciprocity measures, countries that are matching America's energy when it comes to restrictive policies, there's a lot that comes along with that too, including and not limited to driving more data collection, right? Biometrics is here and it's not going anywhere. For Americans, this can and probably will mean higher costs, right? Averaging from $12 to $81 per destination just for the authorization, just to get the approval to enter. So if you have a family of 10 or a group of 10 that is traveling to, let's just say Brazil, and we'll get more into Brazil in a second, that is $811 that we're talking just in visa fees. But we'll talk more about what those visas entail. But there's also scrutiny because you're going to require more planning. You can't just now jump on a plane and say, I'm going to London. You can't just jump on a plane and go to some of these places that now require vetting before you get there. And sometimes those vetting procedures take days, if not weeks. And so let's just stay ready. People are concerned about, like I said, some of the privacy as it relates to biometric data being stored in foreign databases. And it definitely is reducing flexibility. We like to be nimble, we like to be flexible, but these new changes are not allowing that to happen. So let's get into some of the countries that are being affected now or are planned to be affected in the near future. And the list is, the list is a lot longer than when I started talking about this just about a year ago. But we started talking about visas in Brazil. Let's talk about visas in Brazil. Right now, as of April of this year, an e-visa is required for tourists and business travelers, which means you have to pre-apply before you just get on a plane and go to Brazil. And as I mentioned, those costs are not cheap, especially if you're going or paying for a group of people. It's $80 per individual. And it's just under 81, I'll say. And a visa is something that allows you to be in the country legally, for those of you that don't know, for a certain amount of time. And that time is determined upon entry or pre-entry when you're approved for the visa. So, like I said, the application is just under $81. It's $80.90, and it's valid for 10 years, which is great if you plan to go back and forth. But if you're just looking for that one-time trip to Rio for Carnival, and you're going with your family or group of people, be ready to pony up $81 per person. You must apply in advance through an online portal. Yes, you do. And the processing time is not immediate. It could take several days before you get approval or declined. So it is best for you not to purchase a ticket until you are approved. And I mean airline ticket, but that's not it. That's not it. In addition to the visa fee of $81, you now also have to prove that you are financially solvent in their eyes by showing your bank statements. And the bank statements right now, I believe it's 2000 still. I don't think that has changed. But as we get into what the forecast is for the future, we don't know what 2026 is going to look like. Next on the list is Mexico, my beloved Mexico. There has been lots of changes as it relates to Americans getting their visas since the time that I got my visa, and even more bigger changes since before 2020. And what are those changes? Well, right now it's a higher income requirement for residency.